7:26 left. I wonder if these Eagles gonna, close it out. Justin Herbert's playing, so he's playing with the injured
Oh,
hand,
yeah, he
so
back out there.
we'll see what happens. Yeah, he got the hand wrapped up pretty well. And let's see what his stats is right now.
Well,
He
Eagles better
is
figure out a way, man. That NFC. Well, I think they in regardless because they in a trash division, and with
yeah.
Detroit just beating Dallas, it's pretty wide open. Washington was just eliminated. That Giants was just eliminated. So Dallas was the only other team that would have a chance, and they fall behind. And if Eagles win, that's pretty much a wrap for Dallas too.
Well, yeah, definitely. The NFC is well, that's the NFC East is it's pretty much Eagles. You know what I mean? Dallas might they try to sneak
They're
in there,
not.
but
They
it's
can't.
pretty much Eagles.
Especially they kept.
Well, they're not gonna win the division.
Yeah,
They trying to sneak in as
I don't see
wild
how they're
card.
gonna get in there as a wild card. Too many other teams.
You know,
Yeah.
it's crazy because I'm seeing Tampa. Tampa's been losing too.
Mm-hmm.
They started off pretty hot, and then they started losing. A little bit of injuries hitting Tampa pretty.
Yeah. But,
We lead on Baker Mayfield too because he's been playing pretty good,
yeah, he's playing good.
and he can't never this he can't get no luck at all. But I mean, before we continue with our football talk, I want to welcome everybody to the Off the Parkway podcast. Myself and Big Sue, we are here today, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of everything that's on the agenda. Right now we've been discussing a little bit of football, but once again, if you like this type of content, hit that like button, share it to your family and friends, and, share it to some strangers too. And also subscribe. We out
Hit
there on
that
all the
button.
socials.
Click it.
Hit that button, click it, and tune in and enjoy the show. Man, what's going on, Sue? How you feeling?
Everything good, man. Can't complain. So actually, I can't complain. And I'm complaining about that cold Northeast Jersey weather that was. They was colder than the witch's tit outside today. It was cold as
Yep.
hell, man. That wind was whispering, cold air. Like you ain't have gloves or a thick winter coat and lay it up, man. You was gonna feel that. Pause.
Yeah, that reminds me of me and Jay. We went to a little bit of Montclair Saturday night. What's called it? A couple of the guys I used to work with, what I mean, do the bouncing and stuff with. They wanted to get together because one of the guys he's fighting that cancer fight,
Man,
and we wanted to get together,
prayers
and
up.
just break bread. Yeah, we wanted to break bread and stuff like that together, to build a camaraderie and stuff like that. So, but we went down to a little bit of Cuban Pete's. My first time
That's your
there,
first time at Cuban
you
Pete's?
know. Yeah, it was my first
You got
time
good
there.
food
Every
there.
time I had the opportunity to go, yeah, I just never
Mm-hmm.
went. But we had to park. We had to, what I mean, it was real busy in Montclair on a Saturday
Yeah.
night, so we had to park like a few blocks away, and that walk to damn Cuban Pete's was so cold, man. It was windy. It was ridiculous. But we got in there. Food was banging, man. That snapper was slamming.
Yeah. A
Yo,
Cuban
we
Pete.
had that.
Montclair, period. They got a lot of spots, a lot of, whether it's just like some restaurants, like, little chill lounge spots. Montclair, they got some decent stuff out there.
Yeah, definitely was good. So shout out to Cuban Pete's. Jay enjoyed it. He got the shrimp, the fried shrimp, and he had some wings. I ordered some wings too. So the food was on point. I definitely will go back. It was definitely good eating. You know what I mean? I'm definitely gonna go back in the summertime or the spring. I ain't going back down there in the winter, man. I hate it. I hate this cold weather, man. And shout out to all the guys that was out with us on Saturday night, man. Everybody keep their heads up, man. You heard a lot of good, lot
I
of,
get left. I
lows and
get left.
highs. Sorry, it wasn't a hot kid left.
I
I
get
said
left.
a hot kid. No, 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 no. It was one of the guys that was with us. You might have heard about his son's story. He was supposed to, he was one of the top recruits at Hudson Catholic, and then he ended up catching cancer.
Man. He
Yeah,
played ball?
yeah, yeah, he played ball. He was top dude, in Jersey. I think he was top 1 in Jersey that
What's
year,
his name? You know?
and I think let me get his name. I know his last name is Sellers.
Mm.
Let me see,
Yeah, Hudson
let me
Catholic over
see.
the recent years, they had a lot of top recruits. Uh, that came in, that came out of there. A couple of years back. So that's a solid program. Basketball, high school basketball.
Yeah, he was, Antonio
Okay,
Sellers.
okay. All right, man.
Yeah, he ended up, catching, cancer or whatever, and he had surgery and stuff, and the surgery affected him pretty bad, and they got cool with, Coach K from
Hmm.
Duke, so I don't know if he was supposed to go to Duke or not, but, they, Coach K brought him in there, and they hooked him up with the doctors and stuff like that, but he actually went to, with a natural doctor. I think they call it, holistic.
Holistic doctor, yeah.
Yeah, and he actually got better from that.
And it's a lot of controversy. I know, the Dr. Sebis and all that stuff. They say some of these, natural things this can,
Yeah,
draw some of these sicknesses out the body, and the government they hide it because the money's is in the cure, or it's in the medicine really that people got to take that they
yeah,
give it to the people, and there's no money in the cure rather. So yeah, it's tough, tough.
yeah. It was all about the diet. He
But
changed the diet up, alkaline diet. That
mm,
alkaline diet, saved his life. And it's crazy because as he was getting better, he was telling me, he was like, "Yeah, the doctors asking him what's going on, what y'all doing?" You know what I mean?
mm,
So it's crazy when the doctors are asking that kind of stuff.
right,
But
right, right.
shout out to them though. Everything's doing better for them. Very proud of that situation with them, man, because no one wants to see their kid in that type of situation, man, for real. I'm just happy that he can still be around to the day. He can't play ball anymore, but hey, it's all good. As long as you're still alive, man. That's the main thing.
Well, I mean,
But we got
we come off that Sunday was jam packed in the much anticipated game of Cam Ward versus Shadeur Sanders. You know, Woo. It was the projected number one and number
yeah,
two pick, but
that's
obviously
right.
is
That's
not what
right.
it was. It was Cam Ward going number one, Shador obviously sliding all the way down to the fifth round and being the second
Yeah.
quarterback picked by the team that drafted him. And there was a lot of controversy with that, because before any of the draft process, all that stuff, last year, them coming out of college, it was Shador and Cam, one and two. Who was going to be one? Who was going to be two? And there was a lot of people that was putting, Cam in front of Shador, but there was some that still had Shador in front of Cam, and the thing that gave, Cam, I guess, an edge was his athletic ability, and he had a little
Yeah.
bit more. They felt that he had a little bit more arm talent, but Shador, he had a little bit more accuracy and just I guess a little bit of a little swag to go with it. You know, up and down year for Cam, more down than up, and Shador, who finally got his opportunity, a couple weeks ago, and it came at the right time. So now these guys met and they put on a pretty decent, entertaining football game, man. Like, what was your thoughts on it?
Yo, man, I was happy that this game came, man, because we just talked about Cam
Hmm.
Ward a few pods ago, talking about, with Shador getting all the hype. No one's talking about Cam Ward, no one's shown, his team is it's not good.
Hmm.
He's not getting that. He doesn't have that popularity that they're showing his games on TV or anything like that. So we're not seeing what's going on with Cam Ward. So not today, but that day was the day that we get to see what he has on national TV. So they get together and they didn't disappoint. You know what I mean? I was happy with what I saw, but let's get into the Cleveland Browns first. I thought from the beginning of the game, because I watched majority of that game, I thought that damn Kevin Stefanski was going to end up doing the same game plan that he's been doing. Run, third and long, try to make a first down, and you ended up punting. But, as it got towards the second quarter, he opened up the playbook a little bit. He let him Shadeur throw a little bit more, which I was surprised with. So Shador tried, it took him a little bit of while to get comfortable with throwing the ball as much. He did throw a pick, even though he did manage the game well, but he gotta let go of that damn ball, man. He's holding the ball too long sometimes, and he just needs to let it go when he's trying to find something out of nothing. But going into half, it was pretty well. Man, this game was managed, even though he did throw that pick. They was up. Tennessee looked like they was into it. Cam Ward started off very strong, got them up. And the thing is with Cleveland and I guess with Tennessee, they kind of mirror each other. Bad teams in different ways. Cleveland's offense is worse and their defense is pretty much their highs. With Tennessee, their offense is a little bit better than their defense, but the thing is when the defense showed up for the game, I don't know what happened, but they showed up. What you thought about the first half? If you did see it.
I was watching other games,
Yeah.
and so you know, I didn't necessarily catch all that, but I caught some highlights. Because as I'm watching my Bears versus the Packers, I wasn't in. That's a different game altogether. But I mean, I did see,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did get
yeah.
the gist of of both QBs competing against both teams, and it looked pretty entertaining, and it seemed like things opened up in the second half. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was
yeah,
gonna
yeah, it
say.
seemed like things opened up in second because I was checking on things and just looking at a little bit of stuff as I was watching the game. It looked like Cam was real inaccurate in the beginning. It looked like his numbers was a little low, but it looked like Shador had because it looked like he was a little bit more active. But then as the start to check in on the second half, you just start seeing the numbers just climb and climb. You start seeing the
Yeah, they
score
started climbing.
change, whatever. You start seeing some of the highlights and some of the passes and things that was going on after I got a chance to kind of go back and see the full highlights. It was a pretty entertaining game. And I'll say this: I'm glad that Cam was able to get a little bit of highlight, a little bit of pub, a little bit of no, some camera time, and these guys. I don't if you was following their road to the draft, they was working out together over the summer, and they got a and they was competing against each other. They was making each other better throughout the summer. They had the same trainer, and you can kind of see their progress, and doing the same drills, and they was talking shit to each other, all that stuff. So you saw that they had a good relationship. And it was built off of competitiveness, and they was going to compete against each other. And I didn't even know that they was going to be even scheduled to play each other until
Yeah, I didn't know
I didn't
neither.
know, and it's funny. It looked like it was going to be a non-factor because I don't think Cleveland have no intention in Shador playing, but it just worked out that way. I think people just my take on the on the aftermath of the game and what people talking about and all that stuff. And I know the big story is about Shador get took out for that 2-point conversion. And we can get to that. The thing that I find interesting about both of their performances is that when you look at it, it looks like Shador played better than Cam, right? If you look at the numbers,
Yeah.
if you look at how people talking about it, they talk about these a little bit more wild about Shador's performance more than Cam. And there's something to be said that Shador might have gotten a little bit of a favor by not being played in the beginning and not started and like kind of
Yeah.
because once he got in, after the part of him playing to see, do well to so the other guy doesn't come back in, once that part over, there's no more pressure on him because
Mhm.
their season is over already. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like damn near know that that coach ain't gonna be there. So it's almost just
Yeah.
like you either playing to see you just audition for all the teams that need a quarterback, including the ones you're playing for. So what if they want to keep you and do something with that, then cool. But if not, shop me around and get me to somebody who need a quarterback because I'm showing that I can do it. And he got done a favor, and Cam didn't get done no favors because he got thrown out there. Terrible offensive line, terrible, no weapons on his team. We don't know if that's truly what Cam is, or that is what Cam is, and because all those starts he had, he didn't look as good as somebody who only had a few starts. So that I found that interesting right there. But yeah, man. But they both got a chance but they both played well, all in all, and they made their mistakes here and there, but they made plays as well. Kudos to those dudes. I'm glad they was able to showcase their talent, and it's only up from here, hopefully, for those guys. And Shadeur play my Bears next week, and hopefully he has a bad game.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, good point, Sue. But he was labeled as the starter for the rest of the season today,
Okay.
so he did
Whoop de doo.
play good enough. Yeah, yeah, 4 games left, so it's cool. But I still, I mean, I'm happy that he is getting opportunity to audition because clearly, if he doesn't have a home in Cleveland, which might be kind of tough for them to get rid of him after these games because he's a fan favorite right
Mhm.
now. But at least he can have enough film on him that other teams can see something that they can enjoy. And I mean, like you said about that 2 point conversion attempt at the end of the game, I thought that was wild. What I mean, the way how he fought back to get them back in the game. He was running. What I mean, he tried to show off, his a little bit of slow feet that he do got, man. I was dying. He was out there balling, man. He was fighting for every yard he can get. He even rushed for a touchdown. He got them back in the game, and you just go for a trick play that you look like, and the way it was executed looked like, yo, we didn't practice this enough. You know what I'm saying? So you put the game in the hands of someone else instead of the guy who got you down there, which kind of shows a little bit funny stuff going on with the coach. But maybe we just thinking too much. Maybe he really thought that was going to be the play was, I give it to him. The play, if it was executed the right way, it probably would have worked, to be honest with you. Because the way how they didn't look on that left side of the field, and it was wide open. But if my man, the quarterback, is hot, I got to keep it in his
Mhm.
hands. I'm sorry. That's what I just got to do. You know what I mean? The fact that, nobody cares if it would have worked. They needed it to work, and it didn't work. So now he got egg on his face for right
Mhm.
now. You know what I mean? So that's just how football rolls, though.
I,
You know what I
I
mean?
I know that that's part of the playbook. The Wildcat, they got a Wildcat package in Kevin Stefanski's playbook. He's done it before this year. He's done it
Yeah.
during this year. This isn't a thing that he did, since like he tried this for the first time with Shadeur being the quarterback that was playing for his team. And he decided to take him out. Nah, he's done it before. But
Yeah.
everybody's point is understood. He's hot. He did everything. He brought you back, and now he has the opportunity to tie the game. Don't take him out. You have nothing that you're playing for. Might as well see if your rookie quarterback can actually, tie the game up. So what's the point? You're trying to win the game, but see if he can win the game. I mean, this is this,
That's it.
and it was the let me ask you something. So we talk about, see if he can play there next year, he auditioning for teams and things like that. Now I'm not exactly sure, once you get picked, fifth round, your contract, you sign a contract, obviously, but I don't know what his contract looked like. If it's multi-year, if it's a team out, like football contracts are different.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if you Shador and if there's some wiggle room where you have some say on whether you want to come back there or not, if that's a possibility. Do you come back there? Even if they saying you come back here, you're the starter of the Cleveland Browns.
Well, let's talk about this contract. He signed a 4-year,
Hmm.
$4.6 million rookie
Hmm.
contract. Let's see. Okay, signing bonus. Yeah, so pretty much he's locked in for 4 years. I know football's a little funny
Yeah,
with
yeah.
their
Yeah,
multi-year
they have
contract.
players have no control. So then he'll be there. So I guess it is what it is. So only how he would have been, and when we say,
He'll get traded.
yeah, yeah, so now unless they want to do something with Watson, but for what? I mean, you got a cheap quarterback. You already pay because you got to pay Watson regardless. So you got a fifth round. So you get to pay him cheap. Now, I guess one thing that Shadeur should look at for these 4 years that they have him is how I gonna make up for picking me in this damn fifth round and paying me what the hell y'all paying me? Because when it comes time for that 4 year to come around, I'm a free agent. But then
Yeah.
they hit him with the hot franchise. So yeah, they football ain't got no the players ain't got no control, man. He might be screwed either way. So it is what it is. But hey, if he gonna be there, embrace it, embrace Cleveland. That's a big sports town. You know what I mean? And they love their Browns, so embrace it, and you'll have a chance to be in the record book for Cleveland quarterbacks. Is outside of Bernie Kosar, it ain't too many good ones. You know what I mean? That's not a franchise that that had like John Elway. They ain't had those type of things. So
Well,
or
my thing
even
is,
a prime,
I'm
or
looking
even
at
a
it like
prime
this.
Jake Plummer.
Okay. All right. Now we're getting out of hand with this. But with Shador with the 4 years, you got Deshaun coming back next year. I think that's his final year of his guaranteed contract. So he's definitely gonna most likely play next year. You know.
Who's gonna play? You think they're gonna play Deshaun Watson?
Yeah. Next year. He's on his last year of his contract. They're gonna play him.
So you think that if they have QB competition, that regardless that Watson's gonna get the
Well, it depends on who the coach is. You know what I mean? And
I
the
think
way
Watson's
how
done.
their coach is playing right now, I mean, the way how their coach is right now, it kind of feels like he thinks that he's going to be back next year.
Let's say fuck it. Then let's just say that he's coming back. I don't think he's coming back. Nobody thinks he's coming back, but let's say he is. If he starts Watson, then he don't want to be there. You know what I mean? I think that what Shador did yesterday was guaranteed that he forced Cleveland's hand to say that you have to play me or deal me, one or the other, because like Shador's disruptive. So if he's not playing this year, he's gonna be talking. Prime gonna be talking, and it's gonna bring all this negative press there, and they're gonna have to play him or deal him. And Watson, who has all the negative, they can say whatever they want about Shador, but he ain't get no rub downs and no damn and no damn massage parlor. He had no controversy. He ain't having these terrible seasons that they had since they got him in there. You know what I mean? So I know they got to pay him his money, but they've been paying him his money all this time anyway, and they ain't getting nothing for it. So what's one more year? He's done, and he'll be the backup.
But
That's it.
that's why I think that it's $46 million
Oh, they're gonna trade
that
him.
they got to pay him, and no one's going to take the Deshaun Watson
Exactly.
trade. You know what I mean? So the thing is that that's why I feel like they're going to end up playing him to see what he got there. Well, you know what I mean? We'll see what happens in camp. He's known for getting hurt. So, you know what I mean? We'll see how long he lasts. That's the real question. How long he's going to last. Most of the time he's been having shoulder injuries, Achilles, all type of stuff. You know what I mean? They're not doing his offensive line ain't doing him no favors as well. Same way how they got Shador running all over the place. So if they don't beef up the line, ain't nobody gonna make it through a damn year. But I see them saying, hey, you the veteran, you got experience, you're supposed to be the better quarterback. We can sit him back to the backup for a little bit and he gonna play. This is Cleveland out of all places we talking about here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Cleveland do everything backwards. They do everything
There's no way.
backwards.
There's no way that they play that man next year. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll have
Because there was no reason.
this. I think
Hold
11.
up.
11, right? 11.
I don't know how. I always forget this stuff, yo. This shit is crazy that we've been potted so much that we cannot remember. Yeah, this is actually number
12. All
12.
right. So,
This is episode
so we
12.
got we're gonna have to come back on episode 12,
Yes. Yes.
25, 12, 8. So we're gonna have to come back on.
Yeah.
But because I say there's no way that Deshaun Watson playing next year. No way. No way.
Yeah, well, we'll see. You know what I mean? I'm surprised they even let him get cleared to come back for this
I
year.
mean, they can't stop him if he cleared. He cleared. You know what I mean? If he's healthy, he's
You know what I
healthy.
mean? He's actually, but they, they could have said, they could have kept him to the back so he won't be eligible to play for the rest of the year. Because if you're not going to play him, why even have him? Right now, technically, he could suit up.
If he's healthy, he's healthy.
You know what I mean? So he could suit up right now. They don't said they're not going to play him, but he could technically suit up. So say if Shador gets hurt,
Right, right,
he could actually play if he really wanted
right.
to. They're probably gonna run Dylan Gabriel, but they he can play. So, you know what I mean? I seen crazier things in Cleveland, and I'm not gonna think that Cleveland's gonna get a better mentality on how they do operations on the daily
Mhm.
in a month or in a year. They still gonna do garbage. So we'll see what happens with him, man. But let's talk about your Bears.
I mean, honestly, I really ain't got much to say about it. You know what I mean? We can move on to go into this Netflix stuff. We caught an L. We fought. We fought. We stayed in the game, and it was cold as it was cold as hell out there. You know what I mean? But we just it was too many big plays that they had during the beginning of the game. They scored off big chunk plays, and that killed us. And at the end of the game, Caleb had a chance to tie the game, and he didn't put it with it. He didn't put the ball where it was supposed to be. Pause. So throw a pick. It was what it was, man. It was a tough loss, man. But we played him in 2 weeks, so we'll see.
Yeah, two
We'll
weeks.
see.
Two
But
weeks.
yeah,
I like
I ain't got to say about that.
one thing I do admire, man. Y'all got that rivalry going on, man, and it's like everlasting rivalry, man. It's not like something that goes away
It's only a
because
rivalry when both
one
teams
team.
win. They
Yeah,
For
but
2 decades they've been giving us a L, sir.
the fan base hate each
Yeah.
other. No matter who's better than who or whatever the case may be, they
It
always
was
hate each other.
Green Bay,
Like when Green Bay fans was leaving out after the win, they was still going yelling "Bears suck" and all this stuff. They showed
as
videos
they
of it,
do.
so it was kind of crazy. But I do admire that rivalry because what I mean, we played the Raiders and we don't have that. Raiders are supposed to be one of our rivals along with those damn Chiefs. But we don't have no rivalry like that it constantly, the fan base is going at each other and stuff like that. But me, I was happy we got the dub. Raiders are, pretty suck right now, but we are now what 11-2. So we are the top of the AFC right now. We hold the tiebreaker against New England. New England had the bye week anyway, so if it does come down to a tiebreaker, we will win the tiebreaker. So, but I still don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable at all because I feel like the AFC is still up for grabs. We played better. Our offense was a little bit smoother. We almost gave the game away at the end of the game, but I still, as a Bronco fan, don't feel comfortable yet. We need the home field advantage for me to feel a little bit better than how I feel now. I don't know how you feel about it, but AFC is still a strong conference for me, man. I'm a little terrified.
I just think it's wide open for on both sides. You know what I mean? Like the powerhouses in the AFC that was supposed to be, you know, running over everybody, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City. Only Buffalo is decent, and they look
Yeah,
shaky. You know, I mean, I think Kansas City caught another loss, right? They lost to Houston. So like, I mean, it's up for grabs in the AFC and in the NFC. You know, it's just anybody can win. This hasn't been this much parity in the NFL in a long time. So it should be interesting to see how it all ends up. But as it get closer, we'll dive more into it. You know what I mean? Uh, we'll see. We'll see.
but one thing that just happened with I want to give uh talk about the Colts real quick. Daniel Jones going out for the year. Had an Achilles injury on Sunday, so he's done. So what they are going to do is since Anthony Richardson is hurt, they have another backup that's hurt. They are bringing in Philip Rivers tomorrow to work out. to see if he can play. 44 years old. He's coming back to play. And that was surprising when I heard that. I'm like, yo, this dude he must be tired of being home. Cause you know Phillip Rivers got 10 kids. So he must be tired of the damn kids, probably tired of the damn wife. Like, yo, I'm going back to work. Leave me the hell alone. To go back to see if he can play, to see if he can help the Colts win something. That is crazy.
Yeah, I think he's definitely like, get me the hell about this house. These 10 kids, I like, nah, you need to go take care of these. We need a little bit more money. Let me get this quick 6 figures real quick. Cause you only gonna get paid for a couple games. So let me get this real quick, man, and play some football. It may be interesting to see if he stayed in shape. Philip was always pretty decent, but I
Yeah.
mean, but he ain't been in the game for a couple years though. Like Philip been retired for a couple years. Ain't like he retired before. Did he retire before time?
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
that's
Yeah, yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
So like
Yeah.
he's been out the game
Yeah.
for a while. So that would be crazy. But I don't know. We'll see.
Because I think he retired at I think Philip retired at what, 40?
I don't know. But yeah,
Let me
because
check.
Herbert's been the quarterback for a while now.
Yeah. Let
So
me
Philip
see.
never played for nobody else. But
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, they don't let me see. I don't see it right here. Well, I mean, it is what it
mm,
is. But yeah, he's definitely gonna try to come back and see what he can do. I mean, more power to him. Shout out to him for even giving it a shot. I mean, he's wired like that though. I mean, he got that ego that he think he can do whatever. But like we always said, this is the most important time of the year, man, for a football season. And teams got to do whatever they got to do to, especially for the Colts, to salvage their season. It's either they got to find somebody, or it's a wrap for them. You know what I'm saying? So, that's football in a nutshell, man. We look forward to next
yeah,
week.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
all I can say. You know what
yeah,
I
man,
mean?
yeah, man. We got some Netflix news and some
Yeah,
showbiz
we got
news.
Netflix. We got Netflix is now buying Warner Brothers. You know what I mean? Warner Brothers have a bunch of good titles out there. They have HBO, they have HBO Max, they have DC Comics, DC Studios. So it is going to be interesting on how Netflix can they take that control of that and how they maneuver all that content that UB brings. A lot of people are already going crazy about it. Paramount is still trying to bring a last minute bid to try to win it for some reason. It's been studios like Christopher Nolan. He's been trying to get some studio people together because they wanted to try to get the Warner Brothers themselves. Everyone's against Netflix right now, Sue. You know what I mean? They're not feeling Netflix when it comes down to Hollywood. Netflix has big dreams of becoming a big time person in TV. They want to be that company that does live content and movie content. So how you feel
Well,
about Netflix?
Netflix, man, they're the company that started the streaming trend. When you
Mhm.
look at it, they're the fathers of the streaming, era of TV and movies and things like that. Before there was Disney Plus, before there was Amazon, and the Peacocks and all the Paramounts, all the different streaming platforms that play movies and shows and things like that. Netflix was pounding the pavement and made the way for all of them. And their original movies and original TV shows has been good, and with that stuff being good and them being able to purchase Warner Brothers, that's big, that's huge, and then you just kind of highlighted some of the stuff where they'll be able to take over HBO and Warner Brothers, DC, and things like that. But like you got to kind of think about what that would mean by getting some of that stuff. Like if you
Yeah, yeah.
Netflix, because they're able to absorb that, they get the Harry Potter catalog. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not a Harry Potter guy, you know what I mean, but I know how big the Harry Potter catalog is. You know what I mean? So to be able to absorb that and any future shows that come with that, that's huge. You know what I mean? You got the DC universe. Now, DC Universe is great, and I'm a Marvel guy. But I pay attention to DC as well, and I'm a fan of some of their material, things like that. And when you think about DC, obviously Superman, the Batman's, Aquaman's, and all the stuff that come with that. And they'll be under the Netflix umbrella, man. Who knows? They could really put some good stuff on there because when Marvel was under Netflix, they put out some good stuff, man. The Daredevil, Punisher, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, all those things that they had when they had it, like that was good stuff before Disney took over. So, that's important. I mean, when you get HBO, you get all the shows, you get like the Game of Thrones and all these spinoffs, you know what I mean? And I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. You know, everything that came on after that, the prequel, all the shows that they're gonna be having off that, one of the biggest shows of all time, basically, they're gonna be able Netflix will be able to have it. They'll be able to play on their stuff. Then you look at the different shows like Friends, they'll be able to have that stuff. And then all the cartoons that's on there,
Right.
Jetsons, Powder Puff Girls. It's different things that you think about that they can have. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be up, man. And Netflix, man, there's a big chess move that they pulled right there. So you know what I mean? It should be interesting how see how things heat up.
Well, yeah, for me, I got like you said with the content, well, I should say the older releases of content is what will be real big for Netflix as a whole when it comes down to streaming. Like some of the titles you mentioned and how they can add on to those shows. Like they can create some more Harry Potter shows like The Wire. They can bring all The Wire to streaming for Netflix, and then they can create another season of The Wire
Hmm.
or a new rendition of The Wire if they want to. Shows like True Blood, you know what I mean? Stuff like that that they got out there that they can bring right back. So there's a lot of shows and stuff that they can mess with. But my stuff is that I'm a moviegoer. So I got questions for Netflix. Are we trying to end the movie experience? When it comes down to DC and all that stuff, all these movies that's supposed to go get released in the movie theater, are we trying to get rid of it? You know what I mean? What kind of experience are you trying to bring? You know what I mean? There's some of the stuff that we just want to know, and the movie theater itself, they need to adjust to the times too, because right now they're expensive as hell to be in a movie theater. You know what I mean? With Netflix taking off, a lot of questions that we want to know is, are you trying to take us from going to the movies and just having us at home all the time, or what? What are we expecting? Are we expecting just high prices now just because you want us to stay home? Or what's going on? You know what I mean? So a lot of people or moviegoers are we are a little standoffish about it. I agree with you about the shows and why like they did Marvel with they did Daredevil and stuff like that. Netflix was never scared to make these shows more gritty. You know what I mean? They was making them more realistic, more adult friendly as well, which made Daredevil, Marvel tried. And once they got to Netflix, they got it right. So not all the shows was always good, but most of them was. So that's one thing I'm scared about with Netflix. Are you trying to take us out of the movie theater? And what are you going to do with DC? I like DC. I like Marvel more, but is James Gunn still going to have it? Or are you going to have James Gunn's universe? Or are you going to bring Snyderverse back too? Like, what is going on? We just need more time to figure out what they got going on. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, I think that's a great question right there when you talk about Netflix and what is their ultimate goal? Are they trying to get us out the movie theater and make all the viewing, uh, like in home and things like that? Would be an interesting thing that if I'm you know, a Netflix exec or CEO owner thing like that, maybe the next iteration would be to create their own movie theater. You know what I mean? The Netflix movie theater make it a whole different kind of experience than your AMC's, Magic Johnson, or whatever other movie theater franchise there are out there. You know what I mean? And Netflix create their own line and their chain of movie theaters across the country, and and just start with their studio movies first. You know what I mean? And just say, all right, this is just our movies. We play out of here. Netflix, you come to the movie theater, you can enjoy that. Still get the whole go out and experience of going out to the movies and watching it like you would any other time. But we all know COVID changed the game when it comes to movies and what that was like once COVID happened. That changed everything, and it's still kind of recovering from that. Though the movie industry is still kind of recovering from that. It's gotten better from a few years ago, but it hasn't been the same since COVID. So that would be an interesting thing if they could put some of their money towards something like that. Do a trial run somewhere in like California or New York, and see how what the turnout would be. Then if it's good, start spreading it around. I would do something like that if I had money to play with like that.
Well, some say you do, but that's another story for another day.
That's
I
not a story
wonder
for any
if,
day because it's not true. But go on.
sir, this is a story for
That's
another
not a
day.
story for
This
any
is
day.
another day.
There'll be no stories ever talking
Maybe
about any
tomorrow.
money that I got because I'm broke, sir. Broke face stuff.
Maybe talk about it
Broke face
tomorrow. It
stuff.
doesn't have to be today. Come on. Okay. But what I mean, when they go back to Netflix, I know that some of the businesses was worried because they was feeling that it was becoming a monopoly on the streaming industry. And right now you can have an argument that Netflix might be the hub for live TV, streaming, and movies. You know what I mean? Especially if they do the idea that you said about the movie theaters and stuff like that. So once they get in all three phases of how we view movies and shows, they might be taking over, and it might get to a point where they are charging an exclusive price to see all these titles and all these things, and it might get a little hairy out there that the government might step in like they did for, I think it was Google. They tried to break up Google as well. Just something like I said, there's a bunch of questions I got when it comes down to Netflix, and we'll see what happens, man. Right now, I just wanna enjoy what I got. I wish they would bring back some of the old cartoons and The Wire. I would love to see those things on out there all the time, but
It's fun. It's funny you said The Wire. I rewatch shows all the time, and I finished rewatching The Wire, and man, there's so many places you can go with that, and I think when you go with something like that, you got to keep you have to keep their current timeline. Marlo got out of jail, and he was supposed to stay out the streets, but he kind of does he dip back into it? Does when Avon Barksdale comes out of jail, what does it look like for him? Because he maybe he gets out at a certain time. Maybe the people who are still out there, Slim Charles, all that stuff. I mean, how do you integrate that? But it's so many things that you can do with that. Mike, the kid, the young boy that was out there, he gets older now. Like, what is he doing out there? You know what I mean? And that'll be you can definitely spin off of some stuff with that, man. You know what I mean? And you talk about HBO and all the different shows that
Mhm.
HBO, whether it's Sopranos, whether it's Wire, whether it's the Oz. But then you go that that the police shows that they had, and I forgot the detective show that was real popular on there. They had like Woody Harrelson, and then
But,
they had Matthew McConaughey, and
yeah, I think it was True
yeah,
Detective.
something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like you keep that going, but like it's so much stuff in the game. Game of Thrones. Now, Game of Thrones, that like they got another one that's about to come out. That they already showed the trailer for. With Duncan, Egg, and Duncan. But if I can't get into it unless you into it. But like it's think back to an era where there's a lot of action in there. So man, if you're into that the Game of Thrones universe, that's big. You can go so many places with that. Endless stuff. George R. R. Martin, he done wrote so many books and so many stories with that you can go all over the place with that. So yeah, man, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting.
I might be one of the selected few that Game of Thrones is not in my bag of movies
Did
that
you
I
ever try?
watched. Yeah, I tried the first episode, I still couldn't get
See,
past the first episode.
See, that's it. You got to go past the first episode. When I first tried it out, I was like, first episode, I was like, I didn't get it, but it's so it just building up it just building up the storyline. It's so my God, man. When it comes to storyline, listen, when we talk about shows, maybe one day we could break down our top 10 shows and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Only thing that stopped Game of Thrones from being the number one show of all time to me, and I think all of the highly rated TV shows I've watched. So from the Breaking Bads to the Sopranos to the Lost, like whatever it is, I think I watch most of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
and Game of Thrones would have been number one, but he did the writer of the writer of the books, George R. Martin, when they first was like putting the show together, he didn't finish the books on the show, like on the story that they was doing. HBO didn't want to wait for him to finish the book and then take his storyline and put it into the TV. So the writers from HBO, they went ahead and did something completely different than what he would have did, and they kind of messed up the storyline for like the last
Yeah.
season and a half. It was just they rushed it and they didn't. All they had to do was wait. If they would have waited, even if it would have waited 2 more years to get that last season, it would have been worth it.
Yeah.
But I think they just saw because nobody was getting more ratings than Game of Thrones was, and they did it. And they messed up the last year. But still, the first 5 seasons, crazy, crazy.
Did he ever finish the book?
Yeah,
That last
yeah,
season
he
book?
finished it. He finished it. That all they had to do was wait. All they had to do was wait, man. But yeah, nah, it's Game of Thrones is tough, man. It's tough. And I think for people who be watching it, they be thinking that it's like all about dragons and all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, if I ain't into that, I ain't gonna like that. But it ain't. It really dragons are a part of it. You know what I mean? It's a small
Yeah,
part of
yeah,
it,
yeah.
but it ain't though. It's tough, It's tough. But we can get on that another day.
Yeah, it's crazy because I thought I would like it because I liked Willow growing up. You know what I mean?
It ain't nothing
So
like Willow.
yeah, and I'm like, but I'm just looking at like the time setting and stuff like that. I'm like, well, maybe, but I just got to get past that
Ain't
first
nothing
episode.
nice
That first
about them
episode
dragons. Ain't
dragged,
nothing nice about them dragons. Them dragons,
man. That first episode dragged me to sleep, man. I was like,
bro.
God damn, this one
I
dragging,
I would
man.
say
But I'm gonna try it
I,
again.
I would
I'm gonna
say
try it.
give it like if you ain't like stuck on it after episode 3, then it's like all right.
Yeah,
But like yeah, once you get past like the first 2, because they just setting up the storyline. Because
yeah,
what that do is they make you love certain characters. And they get rid of them motherfuckers. Like the characters that you think is supposed ain't going nowhere, they get them up out of there. And it's and it drags you in. Man, I'm telling you, if you're looking for something that just to hold you over till you wait for something else to come out, there you go.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna give it another shot. I definitely do. I gotta give it another shot, man. Especially now, as I'm in between shows and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. I at least start the first season and try to get the first season in with no problem. But we'll see. I keep you updated.
And well, that's out now that they got about through the last season, House of the Dragon, which is a very good show as well. The acting on these shows is freaking superb. Joffrey, are you getting? But anyway, but yeah, the acting on these shows, House of Dragon, but then so they about to finish the last season of that, but then they gonna start the new one, which is like dated 100 years before the original Game of Thrones series that came. So it should be tough. It should be tough. Yeah, give it a shot.
I likes. They keeping them coming with those movies, man. They got they locked in. I can tell you that much. People love that.
Everybody got their universe, man, and it's interesting. Like you know what I mean, whether it's the Marvel universe, DC universe. We just talk about Game of
Yeah.
Thrones, but I mess with the boys. You know what I mean? They got their
Yeah,
universe.
yeah, yeah. I do. I rock
You
with the
know,
boys. Yeah,
Invincible. I mess with their universe. Like everybody got their
I
universe.
gotta finish that one. I ain't finished the last season. I think I got like 2 or 3 episodes left. I gotta finish it. Yeah, I gotta.
Invincible tough.
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna
It's
get
tough.
there.
It's tough.
You know what I mean? I'm
It's
definitely
animated, but
the
it's
boy.
tough. It's tough.
Yeah, just with the boys. I just gotta watch the Gen V. I didn't.
Oh, you ain't
I
finished
watched
MV?
like the first two. Nah, I watched the first 2 episodes, and then I was like, I need a break.
I mean,
But
Jimmy was
I'm gonna go
cool.
back.
I think it's so damn over sexualized with that franchise, but that's a different story altogether.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot though. I'm gonna get back into them and catch up, especially now for the holidays. I'm gonna try to catch up. There's so much stuff going on right now, but it is what it is, man. What we got next, man? We got you wanna see you wanna talk about your man Buster Rhymes,
So what happened with
man?
Bus? What happened with Bus on Bus? Pause.
Well, yeah, I guess he was out somewhere, whatever, and a fan came up to him, and it looked like the fan could be genuine with it. It looked like he could be trying to be funny with it too, but he called him Tracy Morgan.
It was nothing genuine about that. And that nigga knew what the fuck he was doing. Called that man Tracy Morgan, man. Yeah, I saw
And
that.
yeah, Buster guy, he caught offense to it and kind of, what I mean, slowed everything down and was like getting at him about trying to, question him, seeing if he was trying to be funny or not with
Mhm.
it. So, how do you feel about these celebrities that get into it with these rage baiting fans? That's what they call it now, rage baiting.
Rage baby.
But how
I
do you
like
feel?
that phrase, the rage baiting phrase. I hear it in my house. I hear it in my house all the time. When my kids talk about stuff. Oh,
Yeah,
he
me
just
too.
rage baiting me. Look, my daughter's talking about something. Oh yeah. He just rage baited me right now, so that's why you just slapped him. Some crazy stuff like that. Like, yeah, rage bait. Yeah, okay. When I start whooping ass, I'm like, yeah, y'all rage baited me. But no, I mean, that's the era we in, man. You know what I mean? And like this, you know, World Star was the first iteration of this era of the
Yeah,
gotcha TV type stuff. Like they want to, out of character on camera, post it, and be the first one to do something. And it turned from getting regular people on the street doing shit to celebrities. And because these streamers, they can get into these places, they can get into these award shows, they can get into these red carpets, they can get into these things, and try to, there's a lot of, whether it's prank shows or whether it's different things that they have out there, they want to get these guys on there and get content. The whole is a content game out here. Whether that guy was just, there is no whether he was trying to get it. He clearly was trying to get some content. He knew that wasn't Tracy Morgan. You know what I mean? Now, whether you want to make the argument, whether does Busta Rhymes look like Tracy Morgan? Sure. But you know what I mean? You're not gonna just run up on somebody and just call him somebody that he was doing. But funny. Now, could Buster have been a good sport about it and laughed it off? Could Buster been a good sport about it and crack back, or just do what he did and just like, take offense to it? I mean, I think when you take offense to it, you give them exactly what they wanted, because that's what he wanted. You know what I mean? He got exactly what he wanted, and he got his little, he gonna get his clicks from it. We talking about it along with anybody else who's gonna talk about it. Would they have been talking about it if Buster just laughed at her? Nah, you stupid. Nah, you got that and walked off? No, nobody would have said anything about it. You know what I mean? So
hmm
these celebrities, these people got to know what era you in now. Somebody, playing some joke like that, you know what I mean? Just like, okay, sir, you got that. Make them feel silly for even doing it. Like, yes, I'm Tracy Morgan. Like he should act like he was Tracy Morgan. Like, yeah, I'm Tracy Morgan. Started, first
hmm
name Tracy Morgan. Man, I'm like, fuck these chicks. Just started just doing shit. You know what I mean? But hey, it is what it is.
Good, great impression, by the way. But like you said, Buster. You know what I mean? I wish he would. And it's just like I think it might be just the age gap too, where they just as you get older, you just just don't care anymore, you know what I mean? But we live in the era of the troll, you know what I mean? They troll you and they use that to for fuel for their bankroll,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? The troll equals views, equal likes, equal clicks, and that equals more money in their pocket. So they're gonna keep enticing you to get riled up to do dumb stuff off of what they saying, and they just gonna laugh it off because they're happy that you're engaging with them, period. So, you know what I mean? I think Buster needs to, and he's been around long enough to see the trolls and all that. He's been in different situations, man. I guess he might just be fed up, but at the end of the day, so what? They call you Tracy Morgan. Oh well, man, laugh it off and keep it moving, or just walk off. Period.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you know what I mean. He's sitting there. You just trying to punk this dude, and he's just over there looking at you like, "Oh my God, I thought you was Tracy, Tracy, my boy." So they doing all this and all that. Like, come
And
on
at the end
now,
of the
this
day,
is
you
this
ain't
is
gonna do
dumb.
nothing. You busted.
Yeah,
You
that's
ain't
what I'm
gonna.
saying.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so just you better off just playing it off. You know what I mean? Than calling it a day. But that's the streamer thing, man. And like, it got to the point where it's even a streamer award because that's how big that this genre of entertainment has gotten that they have made an award for these streamers out here. And, because of the money that they're generating and the views and the eyeballs that they're getting every day, these content creators are, getting awards for these things now. And they had a stream award and it stirred up some controversy and things like that. And it was pretty entertaining. Did you hear about that?
yeah, I did hear about the Streamer Awards. I didn't know nothing about it until
Hmm.
they started showing different clips and stuff about it. So I didn't know they actually existed. It was actually a thing.
Hmm.
So, but now I know, and they have different categories and stuff like that. Which, you know what I mean? If they're gonna have to start having things for them,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? That's their lane. So they gotta start having things to support each other and stuff like that with their lane, because nobody, to be honest with you, everywhere else didn't catch up yet.
No, no.
It's cool that Yeah, it's cool to have some of them around, you know what I mean, to boost your shows and stuff like that. Like they had Kai on BT, so it was cool for having them on there to, boost up ratings, but they technically are not caught up to actually, give them their flowers and stuff like that, like give them awards. They're like, give them awards for what? Not everybody actually watched them. So it's just not really, it's a thing in that genre. You know, shit, the kids, our kids, they watch that type of stuff. Like I know my son, he watches, like he's not really into all of them, but he's more into the gaming ones. But you know what I mean? He tried to tell me about I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. But
See, but that's what it incorporates. The streaming as a whole. You got the gaming part of it all. Then you the
yeah,
content creator, of it all. Then you got the ones, the IRL guys, and those are the guys who travel and do it. You know what I mean? I know you're saying is like, it almost sounds like you're saying like, yeah, it's just for them, it's for them. But we got to understand that this is huge. Because it's not in our age gap, and we're not, all the way knowledgeable about it. But we're far removed from the age gap that it targets because we don't know about it. That's one thing, but it exists and it is huge and it is a force right now. It's not in my age group, but I do kind of pay attention to it because one, I find some of these streamers very entertaining, and I look at a lot of them, and I just always look at this stuff like, man, if I came up in this era, that would have been me because this was some of the shit I was doing when I was their age. You know what I mean? This was my personality when I was their age, and like I would have been all over this shit, like
yeah,
so I look at some of the stuff, I find it highly entertaining. Some of them, I catch like clips where they come on IG, IG reels or TikTok reels and things like that, and watch some of it, and then you kind of go down a rabbit hole, pause, and you start watching a bunch of these videos to see what they did. In the past, old videos and things are funny. And then, like, the streamer awards, you look at some of the notable guys that's on there, like Asho Speed, he won Streamer of the Year award. I find Asho Speed entertaining as hell. He's young as hell. He only like 21. but
Yeah.
he just like extra silly, but extra competitive. The athlete that just do things, the type of work he doing it where he just traveling all over the country and
Yeah.
just doing these different athletic challenges and challenging people to race and doing all these things. And he, what he's doing is dope, but they're showing his personality and it's hilarious. You know what I mean? It's funny. And if you're into that type of physical comedy, then you got Kai, who more interactive and talk with people, sit down in front of a computer and do more talking and interacting and know how to engage the chat. You know what I mean? And get them talking and get them. And then he brings his boys on, and they all create content together, and they all have their individual personalities. It's funny, and and some of those individual people are hilarious in their own right. And then you got other people who do it. The Black Boy Max is he Jersey guy, the DDG, and like his group that he got. It's a big world out there, man, and they got it on lock right now. And they got these rappers that be coming on there trying to do it. You got some old heads that's trying to do it now because that's a lane that was created that people making money off of, man. And now I guess what we talk about is the awards. That's the next generation of it, man. They just gonna keep going with it.
Well, yeah, I look at it like maybe to like how rap music came out, like hip hop. You know what I mean? The gatekeepers for this type of genre are older. So like the people who are the gatekeepers of like entertainment, they're not locked in yet because they're still far removed from it. But they will see they are soon opening up to it because these dudes are making a lot of money. So as these dudes are continuing to making a lot of money and getting more influence with their fans base, and they're seeing that people are gravitating to them, buying whatever they mention and stuff like that. People are going to those people who are gatekeepers are going to join what they got going on to market whatever they got going on to send their artists out there. That's why you see these rappers out there too at the same time getting notoriety and that thing too because they need to sell their products as well. I look at it as the new innovation that's coming up, and it's making people a lot of money. If my son wants to do it and he is good at it, I think he would. To be honest with you, I think Jay would be good at it. So, because you know what I mean, his friends love watching him play his game.
Hmm.
You know what I mean, and he'd be mad animated and stuff like that. So I think he'd be perfect for it. But I just, we'll see as he get older. But if it can get you to a point where you can make this money that they're making, these dudes are riding around in luxury cars and all this stuff, got their own homes. I'm just happy for that. If these dudes can do what they do and take care of themselves at the same time,
Hmm.
hey, I'm all for it.
Right, right.
I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Shout out to those guys, number one. Shout out to the streamers out there who are doing what you got to do. Kai and all them, all those the ones who won the award. Yes, well, I don't remember what day it was, but whoever won their awards and stuff like that, shout out to y'all for the hard work y'all putting in and y'all out there, getting notarized by the community. And yo, just keep up the good work, man. That's all I can say. I know because Soup, I tell everybody, before all this stuff was out there on YouTube and all that stuff, we would have been out there. We was doing crazy stuff back then, man. It would have been streaming would have been so easy.
Yeah,
It would have
going
been
viral. Just like this personality, just being put out there, just stuff that we was doing that would have had everybody. It would have been something different. Hey, man,
yo,
we ain't get it for a reason, man. We ain't get that for a reason, and it is what it is. But I don't look at it as just like, man, what the hell these dudes doing? I think it's dope. I think it's dope, man. And I be trying to
yeah.
pay attention. I be trying to keep up a little bit with some of the stuff, man. You can't keep up with all of them. There's too many. Just like podcasts.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
There's a lot.
you can keep up with. What I mean, you gotta, like a podcast, you gotta identify the ones that's just talk about things you like and lock in like this. What I mean? Off the Parkway podcast, man. We try to talk about the
That's
things
right.
that you like. You know what I mean? And try to talk about sports, pop culture. You know what I mean? Entertainment. And I think this episode covered a lot of those different things, man. And like we're gonna keep trying to give y'all this content, man. And like we always say, if this the type of content that you like, you know what I mean? You gotta hit that like button and press that subscribe button, man, and give us some love, man, and just mess with us, man. And we're gonna
Yeah,
talk about all those different things and get into it and hear our insight and hear our perspective. And we want to hear y'all's, man, in the comments and engage with us, bro. So man, this is our bag right here.
that's right. And before we get out of here, because I know we on our way out, man. It was a good show today, and a lot of information that we talked about was very good, man. But we want to shout out 20 podcast. They was the first ones to ink a deal with Adidas, the
Mm,
first podcast with a sneaker deal. So shout out to those guys over there, Jeff,
Jeff
B
and
Hen. You you know what I mean? Shout out to those guys, man. And we can't forget the other one,
all
freaking
right.
DJ.
Yeah,
Can't forget
I
DJ.
know.
You know what
Got
I
his
mean?
name. So I'm like trying to
Guys, can't forget about DJ. They
light skin
just be,
boy.
yeah,
And
the
Jeff T
fans be killing them.
brother, he on there too. So
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He out there, he do the 5:20 in the
Right.
morning. So shout out to those dudes,
They
man.
had
It's
they
crazy
had me
how the
dying this morning. They was talking about when when Desmond Bain had knocked motherfucking OG with that ball while he was out of bounds. They told yeah, I swore. Yeah, man, fucking Desmond Bain, man.
That's why I said, you know what I mean? Shout out to those guys, man. They're out there putting out the good content, man. So, shout out to y'all once again, man, for getting y'all sneaker deal. Congrats. And you know what I mean? For another day, man, we'll be back again. So like Sue said, like, subscribe, and share. And we see y'all when we see y'all. We out.